Hello, everybody! Live from the Xfinity Mobile Studio. This is the PHLY Eagles podcast. Some of you call it the PHLY Eagles Show, but all of you have a great time. We are here, presented by Bet365 and Ashley, Wulf, EJ Smith. We got a little Howie Roseman cosplay exercise to do today. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. I agree. I think it doesn't matter what you call the show or the podcast.
Just don't call us late for dinner.
But you have a great time because, we got good energy on this show. So, I'm excited to go through a Howie Roseman-esque exercise with you today. We're going to try to stay away from maybe some of the toxic sludge that surrounds some of these conversations. But, I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Tell me more about the toxic sludge in a little bit. But let's get to it. Although I will tell you that later on in the show, you are going to hear an exclusive interview with Seahawks quarterbacks coach Andrew Janocko, who knows Sean Mannion very well. We talked yesterday about the great jawline on AJ. You'll get to see it
AJ.
up close.
Oh, you guys are on nickname basis now, huh?
Oh yeah, Nokes we call him.
Nokes.
Janoki.
Jawnoki, I think.
Jawnoki.
Yeah, Jawnoki. Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, we'll see if he gets bumped up into an OC job at either the Seahawks or the Raiders. But let's get to it. Tell us, set the scene here, EJ, for what it is that we're going to be doing today.
Yeah, so first off, credit to the Athletics' Brooks Kubena because this is a stolen idea. Kubena, I apologize.
Kubena.
This is Kubena. Okay, Janocko. So this is an exercise that Howie Roseman goes through each season. You know, he talks about his obsession with the teams that win their respective conferences, the teams that make it to the Super Bowl, and how he will evaluate the Eagles roster to see where they may be ahead or behind those championship teams. And I think that it's a good exercise to kind of see where the Eagles stack up, in terms of being a Super Bowl caliber team. So we're going to go through position by position and kind of see again where the Eagles maybe rank more positively or more negatively than obviously the Seahawks, the Super Bowl champions, the new reigning Super Bowl champions. But also I think we can put the Patriots in there too, just to round out the exercise.
Would you say the Patriots are one of the worst Super Bowl teams of the past 20 years?
It's an interesting question. They were probably there a year or two earlier than you really would have probably expected, or maybe I would go so far as even saying would have liked for them to be there. Like if you're going to get a chance, it kind of reminds me of that Bengals team a few years ago where it's like you get there a year earlier than maybe you expect and you're not quite ready for it. So definitely not one of the best Super Bowl teams that we've seen. Probably one toward the bottom of that list. Who else is in the running?
Yeah, it's hard for me to even encyclopedically think about who are the other bad Super Bowl teams.
I can pull it up. It's one of my things I have bookmarked from Pro Football Reference.
Let's hear it.
All right, let's go through the last. Let's just rapid fire it.
Okay.
The last 5 Super Bowl champion or Super Bowl losers.
Okay.
It was the Chiefs against the Eagles. Obviously, honestly that team was pretty bad too, right?
They were on the course of the season, but I think we would all think that team would beat this Patriots team.
I agree. In 24, it was the 49ers.
Niners team was good.
That team was good. It was
Eagles
the Eagles
team was
before
good.
that Eagles team was good. Bengals in 2022.
That team was better for sure.
Yeah. Chiefs in 21. We're not going to take them. We're not going to take them under the Patriots.
Correct.
Niners before that. Rams in 2019 in Super Bowl 53.
They lost to the Patriots. Yeah, that team. But that was Goff. But I think that team was still better.
Yeah, Patriots to the Eagles. I mean, Falcons in 17.
No, that team was better, I think.
Panthers in 16. That one. Oh,
I still think that team was better.
A superhero at quarterback. Honestly,
the past decade of the last 20 teams in the Super Bowl.
Okay,
Patriots
recent memory.
I think that's fine.
It's a good pull by you.
But they had Christian Ellis. All right, let's get to now. Listen, before we do this, I do let's in setting the stage here. This is a fun exercise to go through. It is instructive in analyzing the strength of the roster. I think we all know that it is not like 1-to-1 when it comes to football. There are, multiplying factors of the way things work together. Like if you have 2 great players at a position, but this other team has like 5 really good players at a position, sometimes that's more important. Like depth matters, and also coaching matters and all that stuff. But in terms of just going through how the rosters stand up, it's a worthwhile exercise. So let's get into it. And let's start, EJ, with the quarterback position, which is the most important position. And so let's make it the right people presented by our friends at TrueMark Financial. Do the Eagles have the right people in the quarterback room? And as you stack it up, you've got the Seahawks with Sam Darnold and our and dear friend of the show, Drew Lock.
Loxy.
Locky. Lockbuster. And Jalen Milroe. Patriots, Drake May, Josh Dobbs, and another friend of the show, Tommy DeVito. And the Eagles have Jalen Hurts, Tanner McKee, and Sam Howell. And so, obviously, the Eagles have already won a Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts. He is good enough to win the Super Bowl. Do you think that, winning a Super Bowl with Sam Darnold and that being on the NFL's consciousness changes the way that Howie Roseman or other GMs might feel about the quarterback position, that it's not necessarily superstar or bust?
It's an interesting question. I would say that I don't think I really am always resistant to overreact to 1 year sample in a Super Bowl. So I don't think it necessarily tells you that you can all of a sudden, like having a top 5 quarterback maybe isn't as important as history would suggest. I think if you don't have a top 5 quarterback, the Seahawks are the example. And I would say, it's tough with Jalen.
Do you think that Jalen Hurts was a top 5 quarterback?
No, it's tough with Jalen because he plays at such a high level in those high leverage games that I kind of want to separate him for the sake of this exercise and this argument just for a second here, because to me, it's like if you don't have Pat Mahomes, obviously Josh Allen hasn't had great postseason success, but if you don't have one of those guys, right? If you don't have one of the perennial Super Bowl appearance type quarterbacks, the elite players in the league, then I think that the Seahawks this year are the template for how you win. You have a complete roster, you have a dominant defense, and you have a quarterback in that Sam Darnold tier where if you do need to make a postseason run, maybe you're not bursting with confidence that he's going to carry you there, but he is going to be able to either get out of the way of winning or at least affect winning enough to let the rest of the roster really do a lot of the heavy lifting. So I don't think that the Seahawks are all of a sudden an indication that top 5 quarterbacks aren't going to be, the overwhelming majority of championship teams. Well, they won't, be featured on the overwhelming majority of championship teams. Jalen is, again, the interesting one here, because would I say he's a top 5 quarterback? No, I would not, especially not after the season that he just had. But
was he last year? Does
he play like a top 5 quarterback? And I think that might be the important delineation here. Like, does he play like a top 5 quarterback on the biggest stages? And in both of the Super Bowls, I think you would say he has. He's gone toe-to-toe with Pat Mahomes twice now. So he's an interesting evaluation for that reason. The way that he's played in those games makes me pick him and really the Eagles quarterback room overall over these other two because of ceiling that you get with Jalen Hurts. And I think that is it's an interesting discussion because of the fact that, we do have examples. I think Sam Darnold actually kind of weights down the argument that people make where it's like, well, Jalen Hurts has won a Super Bowl. How can you say he's better than insert, the quarterbacks that Josh Allen? How could you say he's better than Josh Allen? You wouldn't say that Sam Darnold is better than Josh Allen. So that argument only takes you so far, I guess.
Yeah, I think my takeaway from it is more about, I think as a collective, sometimes everybody gives general managers of mid teams a pass on oh, well, it's all about getting the quarterback. If you probably need to tank so that you can get a top 5 pick so that you can maybe get yourself a quarterback who's good enough to win the Super Bowl. And I think the lesson should be they do not deserve a pass. And obviously it's a very hard job, but quarterbacks of Sam Darnold's caliber are available almost every offseason. And so if you have done enough to build a team around them, it's still possible. It doesn't have to be tear it down to the studs just to get a quarterback and then hope you have a shot. There are other solutions. And credit to John Schneider, aside from the Fran Duffy of it all, no doubt he and Mike McDonald did an awesome job last offseason, honestly evaluating, their roster and the quarterback position. And it was also different than most of the, ball knowers thought about it. And they did a great job. Anyway, go ahead.
Sorry. Along those lines, I've always found it so strange teams that blow it up to get the quarterback, kind of what the Raiders have done. Not to say that the Raiders blew it up to get the quarterback, but teams that are so eager to like place a franchise quarterback, potential franchise quarterback into a terrible team because those situations matter so much. I don't think it's a coincidence that some of the best quarterbacks in the league have been able to go into stable situations with good offensive lines and, established coaching staff. Some guys are capable of surviving a rocky few seasons, but I do think that it's understated. I think situation matters so much for these quarterbacks. I don't think it's a coincidence that Sam Darnold stepped into what has become a really solid Seahawks roster and was able to elevate because of it. You know what I mean? It's not, we often view the quarterback position as a very, singular position that affects everything. And obviously it is, but I mean, they are very much affected by what's around them as well.
And so the question here, as it pertains to the Eagles for Howie Roseman, EJ, is the right thing to do here stay put? And we think we've got a better, if not equal, group of quarterbacks than those other teams that made the Super Bowl, or is it, maybe we should get wild, and we can talk about this on tomorrow's show, the No Bad Ideas show. Is there another path that would make more sense and not even more sense, but open up some different optionality?
I'm certainly not there yet with Jalen. I still think that he has proven that you can not only win with him, but win because of him in big moments. And I think it's like, this is a refreshing conversation for us to have because we've spent so much time over the last several months, really in having like very, specific conversations about the way Jalen Hurts has played and where he ranks because of the way that he's played. But I still think that what underscores it all is that you can win with him. He's proven that you can win because of him in those moments. So no, if I were the Eagles, this part of the exercise would make me feel good, being able to win with Jalen Hurts at quarterback.
Okay, let's put close the book on The Right People, presented by our friends at TrueMark Financial. And let's move on to the running back position, EJ, one where I think we would think that the Eagles stand in good position here. Now, Kenneth Walker was awesome in the Super Bowl, deserved MVP. I mean, it's a really fun running style.
Yeah, no,
he does bounce it outside a lot, but he has a way of like always sucking people in and then getting to the edge.
Yeah, he's got that contact balance. I know that's kind of, my old newspaper colleagues hated contact balance.
Okay.
But no, I mean, he does. He has it. And he was a very fun player to watch. I don't think stylistically Adrian Peterson is like a great comp, but he at least like kind of looks like Adrian Peterson, like the young bald guy with like a physical running style. So no, I like a Kenneth Walker.
Okay.
I like a Kenneth too. Kenneth is fun.
I like a Kenneth as well. Yeah. He also has some Deeks connections. Got some Demon Deacon in him. Then you've got would you like some? Trevion Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson on the Patriots, and obviously the Eagles, Saquon Barkley, Tank Bigsby, and then some of us might argue that the bottom of that drops down the whole barrel, but that's a free agent to be. Will Shipley.
Free agent to be AJ Dillon there. I'm taking the Eagles backfield. I think
they're fine here.
Yeah, I think especially if you're thinking about, is this a position that's keeping us from being able to compete with that team? I think you feel fine about it.
I also think that the Tank Bigsby juice we saw last season.
Charbonnet, right?
No, I think from an Eagles roster perspective, it changes. I think otherwise it might have been nice to add a mid-round running back onto this roster as Will Shipley enters the final year of his rookie deal and Saquon is entering the final year of his guaranteed money. It might have been nice to have like a counterbalance and a backup for Saquon who could eventually take over if it was a home run. I think in Tank Bigsby, who is also entering the final year of his deal, it's still nice. Like you don't need that for this season. You can address that next offseason.
Yeah, but I mean, if you were going to make the argument that Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet is greater than Saquon and the number two, I'm not making that argument, but I do think that what we saw from Tank Bigsby even gives the Eagles reason to feel good about their top two in comparison to the others.
And then I also think something to follow and pay attention to, and maybe a question for Fran down the line, is how much does the expected change in the offense and the style of running game that the Eagles are going to implement affect Saquon Barkley and Tank Bigsby? And, do you need somebody else there?
Yeah, it's a good thought.
All right, let's take our first break. It'll be good to see you. Yeah. What a good guy. All right, that'll do it for the first segment here. We'll be back with much more on the other side, talking wide receivers, tight ends, offensive line, Andrew Janocko, and a whole lot more coming your way. The best way to start your morning after, presumably, getting the kids to school or whatever it is that you have to do in your busy morning. You wake up, you roll over, you got to get to work, you overslept your alarm. You don't have time for breakfast unless you have a Wawa on your way. And of course you have a Wawa on your way. And of course you can go and get any Sizzly, any hot or iced coffee, and a hash brown for just $5. We are talking quick, easy, filling breakfast that fits right into your morning routine for a great value. Now, it's only available in the mornings, 5 a.m. to 11 a.m., but you are not going to get a better deal and, frankly, a more delicious, fulfilling start to your day. So if the morning calls for something sweet as well, you can also try the new caramel and chocolate craze flavors on your coffee. No need to overthink breakfast. Just grab, go, and get on with your day. Gotta have a Wawa.
Next, we're going to talk about Monarch. You will feel organized and confident in your finances with Monarch, an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean interface on your laptop or phone. Whether you're switching jobs like me with past retirement accounts to monitor or just trying to simplify checking your portfolio, Monarch has been perfect to keep an eye on all of my finances in one place, and I know it can be that for you guys as well. It can be so time-consuming, checking a handful of different apps, and Monarch really is the perfect solution. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you've put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Don't leave money on the table. This new year, achieve your financial goals for good. Monarch is the all-in-one tool that makes proactive money management simple all year long. Use code PHLY at monarch.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with the code PHLY.
We're back on the PHLY Eagles podcast by Wulf and EJ Smith. EJ, let's continue the exercise and move on to. I want to do tight end or wide receiver first?
Tight ends first. What kind of question is that for me? What are we doing?
Let's get those peach emojis going and talk about the tight ends where the Eagles have essentially nobody under contract.
Yeah.
Now, Dallas Goedert, free agent to be. Grant Calcaterra, free agent to be. Even Kylan Granson is a free agent to be. So they have to refashion this position somehow, some way. You compare it to the likes of A.J. Barner and Fran's boy Elijah Arroyo with the Seattle Seahawks. And then
would have been my boy if I was a PHLY contributor back then, for the record. I liked an Elijah Arroyo.
Well, yeah, you liked him, but you didn't invent him like Fran did. And then, you can't steal it.
You didn't invent him like Fran did.
And then New England, Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper, and some other flotsam and jetsam. Eagles have a lot of work here to do. Yeah. Obviously. Now, I don't want to make you go on the record necessarily before Flu World Order and get your, let us get the scouting report on you. But how do you expect this situation to resolve at tight end for the Eagles?
I think they're going to have to really overhaul this position from the ground up. I think it's going to have to be the draft and probably also free agency. I think that, especially with Sean Mannion bringing a different system, I think that, you could see a complete turnover there. It's funny to think that the Eagles have historically been so proactive and being a year or two early, finding, a succession plan at tight end. I think they're going to have to do it on the fly this year. So I'd expect to see a tight end in the early rounds of the draft. I wouldn't be surprised if they had an undrafted guy or a day 3 guy in addition to that. And then obviously, like the Kylan Gransons, the Harrison Bryants of the world and free agency, I think that you kind of fill it out that way. So, when you look at it compared to these other teams, like they have a lot of work to do at that position, because I think the way that we've seen the Eagles have success, the way that, a lot of really good offenses are built now, you want to have multiple options at tight end. And right now I think it's going to be a position that they need a complete makeover at.
Are you ready for me to give you I'm going to give you the top 10 tight ends who are going to be free agents this offseason by snaps played this year. Number 1.
Wait, why by snaps played?
That's just an easy way to sort.
Okay.
Kyle Pitts, percentage of snaps played.
I feel like, obviously.
Will they bring him home? I did predict this 2 years ago.
Would love that for the Eagles.
Who would?
And he does check some boxes for, in terms of like draft pedigree. He's from the area. Like he's the type of player that you think in the right situation, he could really reach the potential that everyone saw for him. Obviously he kind of flashed it last year, but I don't know. I think he's going to be really expensive. And I don't know if he's really enough of like a two-way tight end that you would really want to build the whole room around him and really pay that much in free agency. I think he'll probably get paid somewhere else if I had to guess.
Yeah, I would not do this deal.
Sure.
But you could see a scenario where if they trade AJ, this is the counter to that in the short term, because they're not going to be able to add a receiver who is as nearly as dynamic, right? And so if you can add a wide receiver 2 type, but all of a sudden now your tight end is Kyle Pitts and you're going to be playing a lot of 12 personnel, and that is not the case that I would make, but you could see that being an outcome. You
definitely could.
It's also, now realistically, we've talked about the Eagles would be willing to take on the dead cap money for AJ Brown if the return was good enough, but it's going to hamstring you in your ability to sign big name free agents. So
yeah, I definitely would not rule out Kyle Pitts for the Eagles. I can see enough of the negatives where I wouldn't say it with full conviction.
Next up, Cade Otton from the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to hear what Fran thinks he'll get. I don't know. Is he like a needle moving tight end enough that you think they're going to really?
No.
Yeah.
But who knows what he gets. Then you get Travis Kelce, Dallas Goedert, Chigo Okonkwo.
I like a Chigo Okonkwo.
I could see a Chigo Okonkwo.
I could see that. Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Next up, Adam Troutman from the Denver Broncos. Zach Ertz, bring him home. Coming off a tough injury.
Yeah.
Daniel Bellinger from the New York Giants. David Njoku. And then here's one that I do think I could see. The last one on the list. Isaiah Likely from the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, that one feels like in kind of a similar mold of the Kyle Pitts, argument, but just a little bit cheaper, a little bit less like, of a home run swing. I don't mind that. I could see Chigo Okonkwo and a high draft pick, and like you have your 2 tight ends for 12 personnel that you feel good about. I think that would make sense.
Some other interesting names lower down the list of guys who could, be your number 2 tight end, but we'll save that for another conversation. Okay.
Sure.
So the Eagles enter the offseason knowing they have work to do here. I think
I think significant work too. Like, I don't think you can just throw a day 3 pick in there with some journeyman free agents. I think it's got to be a premium asset or big money in free agency to bring somebody in.
All right, let's go to wide receiver now. And, until you tell me how you think these groups stack up. And it's interesting considering Seattle shipped out DK Metcalf last offseason.
Yeah.
But the Eagles, obviously, AJ Brown is at the top right now. DeVonta Smith, Jahan Dotson is a pending free agent. Darius Cooper after that, compared to Seattle with Jackson Smith and Jigba. They bring in Cooper Kupp in the offseason for a cheap deal. They make the deadline trade for Rashid Shaheed. They had drafted Torrey Horton, and Jake Bobo was there. And then New England, kind of a mishmash crew after paying for Stephon Diggs, just Mac Hollins, Kayshon Boutte, Kyle Williams, who was I think a 3rd-round pick, and Demario Douglas. You would think that the Eagles feel good about that at the moment, depending on how they feel about AJ.
Yeah, no. So I'm going to invoke Book Author 01's chat. He asks if we will extend roster comparisons to include assessing the head coaches. So I would say that from a talent perspective, I would take the Eagles receiving core here with AJ Brown included. From a usage of the receivers in the pass game that we can feel good about, I actually think the Seattle receiving core is on the same level as the Eagles receiving core. Just in the sense of the way that they use those guys, the value that Shaheed has as an explosive play guy, and the fact that they build it. Like,
do you think that has been solved in just importing a new scheme? Or
that is the question. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, you would like to think that if the Eagles start to take advantage, if AJ Brown stays and the Eagles take advantage of the gravity that AJ Brown and DeVonta Smith have, and they open things up for players that are as opportunistic as someone like Rashid Shaheed, then yeah, they are better. They should be better at doing that than Seattle. But based off of the uncertainty that we have with AJ Brown, the uncertainty that we have with the way that the Eagles' offensive scheme is going to look, I think you could probably argue that the Seahawks are on the same level as the Eagles' receiving core going into next year.
I would still take the Eagles.
That's fair.
But you acknowledge that JSN had a better year than anybody
Yeah, JSM was awesome last year, and he the way that they take advantage of how good he is, they leverage it against defenses in a way that I would like the Eagles to do with AJ Brown. It would make a lot of sense. I'm sure AJ Brown would love that if they used all of the cloud coverages that he faces against defenses. But until we see it, I think that those groups are closer than maybe you would think just looking at them on paper.
Okay.
Shaheed is like the perfect wide receiver 3 for that group too. Like he is like the idealized version of like what Quez Watkins was supposed to be.
Yes.
And I think that if that should be a priority for the Eagles is finding someone who can be, even if it's 2 catches a game, can, just change a game the way that Shaheed has been able to for Seattle since he got traded there.
If I set the over under at pick number 64, the last pick of the second round, do the Eagles draft a wide receiver before or after that this year?
It's a good question because AJ's future really factors in here. Although if they trade AJ, do they use that? Do they do the Treylon Burks? Like, do they use that pick to replace him? I mean, I know Treylon Burks is a tough name to invoke here, but it is it is the thing. I'm going to go after. I don't think it's a great receiver draft. I think that offensive line is going to be a priority for him. I could see him taking a tight end before a receiver. So I'm going to lean. I'm going to take the what would that be? The over or the under technically?
The after. Yeah.
The after.
I think I would take the after too. But I also think they kind of need to do one by round 4.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Because they continue to ignore the position. And I mean, listen, they drafted Aniyah Smith and Johnny Wilson 2 years ago in the 5th and 6th, guys who were supposed to play specific roles. I think it would be nice to see them add somebody in the mid rounds.
That'll be a fun exercise for the combine. Is like once the receivers are on the 40s, like how about we just sort it by 40 time, copy the first 15 names on the list. Put them on a spreadsheet and throw a dart. Just say like
CDP makes a good point, EJ. You could, instead of saying AJ to Treylon Burks, you could say Stephon Diggs to Justin Jefferson.
Oh yeah, that's fair. That is fair. Okay, so they're going to Justin Jefferson.
Yeah,
they're going to do a Justin Jefferson. If they trade AJ, I do think it's before 64 that they draft one, and it'll probably be one of the picks. I mean, it could be one of the picks they get for AJ.
All right, before we get to the offensive line, let's pivot here and give you our interview with the great Andrew Janocko. Media night, talking about Sean Mannion, their experience together, the importance of footwork. Check it out, and then we'll go to break after that and come back and talk about the offensive line. Very specific line of questioning for you.
Okay.
We want to talk Sean Mannion.
Awesome.
So when you coached him, what about him would have made you think that he had a future in this?
I mean, Sean's probably one of the most intelligent people I've been around, whether it be in the quarterback room, in the meeting room, on the practice field. Sean knew the plan, understood the plan like a coach. He understood what each play was specifically attacking. But he wanted to know the whys behind it. Like, he wanted to know the little bit of minutia. Hey, what is this motion doing for us? Like, what is it? What is that? Like, what am I seeing when this motion happens? And what's the backside combination on this run play? And why are we doing it like that? So, to me, that is all stuff that you saw that from Sean then, and you realized this guy's going to be pretty special.
Did you guys talk about that then?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Our quarterback meeting room then, with Kirk and with Sean, those guys were awesome to work with, and it was my first job as a quarterback coach. So being around those guys that were so intelligent and so diligent in their craft, really helped me then and still does.
Now, we've heard about the laptop that he kept, like to keep track of plays and calls. Did he have that when you guys were around him?
So at that point, he was still a pen and paper guy, but then, he was probably one of the first guys that I was around to go to the iPad and to taking the notes on the iPad, which is, myself right now, I don't carry, I don't do anything that's not on the iPad because my life is on my iPad. But he was one of the first guys to go that because he knew that he could categorically search notes and go back years and years in his notes. So yeah, that thing that's pretty legendary.
when you guys were, when he's asking about, you know, the purpose of different parts of the plays and stuff like that, would you talk about, like, if I had an offense, this is the kind of offense that I would run, things like that?
You always share your ideas,
Okay.
so but at the time, you know, you're in a system, you got a
Sure.
belief in a system, so it's kind of really perfecting what you're doing there and then. But you know, you always have thoughts of, okay, hey, maybe I'd do it a little bit different, or I prefer this, or certain quarterbacks prefer certain things called a certain way rather than something else, what hits their brain, how their mind functions. So there's always stuff like that. But you know, the thing that I remember is just how proficient he was, and how his memory from every system he'd been in was really impressive.
One thing we've also heard is just and I'm sure this is partly from you, just the importance of footwork and marrying that to everything that's going on in the offense. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, to me, the quarterback's feet are everything. I mean, you know, any stop I've been, especially with Clint, you know, listening to your feet is the number one commandment of quarterback play, and you know, I think that's something that Sean believes in as well, because you know, I know the guys up in Green Bay, that they preach a very similar thing, and just that overall footwork, the timing and rhythm of the pass game, and that things are supposed to happen at a particular time. For him, getting it out on time, being able to anticipate windows, not see things open, and then, you know, and then helping your offensive line out too, and not putting the burden that you're taking extra hitches or delaying things when they know the ball's got to go, so they can use their best moves as well.
You often hear about backup quarterbacks being resources in the room. I guess, how would you describe Sean Mannion's approach to being a resource in a quarterback room?
Oh yeah, it was fantastic. You know, because he had experiences from different systems and different guys that he had been around at that point, and it was something that, like, I just remember, you know, on buses, on road games, we would just sit and shoot the bull about you know, different things that we saw, different things that we felt, and you know, so just playing all that stuff out, that was definitely a help to me at that point.
Do you have a favorite memory, favorite story about Sean?
You know, I mean, he's a West Coast guy, I'm an East Coast guy, so we'd always banter back and forth about that. You know, just him being like a West Coast laid back guy, and I was always a little bit uptight being from the East Coast. So we'd banter back and forth about that. Still do. We still have some inside jokes with that. Really, really, really excited for Sean. I think he's. I can't say enough.
If we think about just the play calling aspect of the job, which is a bit of a guessing game with him, do you remember like what it was like just being on the headset with him in the middle of games and how you watched the game?
Yeah, no, I mean Sean is phenomenal. Sean could split out a play call like anybody. Like he would never miss a beat. And, you know, he was fantastic with that.
Awesome. So you think the Eagles got a good one?
I do. I'm excited for Sean. I really am.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Thanks for your time.
Bet365 has 90 million users worldwide, and they live stream over 780,000 events each year with early payout offers across the NBA and NHL. Now, Bet365, they're like the pioneers. They are the Lewis and Clark of in-game betting, and today they offer the widest range of games and markets available for live in-game betting across 78 sports. It's a Tuesday. That means it's an NBA tip-off Tuesday where you can place qualifying same-game parlay bets with the safety net bet feature on Tuesday's NBA games and get up to $10 in bonus bets if the bet loses. Terms and conditions apply. Breaking news from Bet365. New customers now get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5. Win or lose, sign up, use the code PHLY365, deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Must be 21 or older and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
We all know the feeling. You walk into a jewelry store and try to pick out something for that special someone in your life, and suddenly you're in over your head. You're thinking, what's the difference between all these diamonds? Or what if they don't like it? Yeah, it can be stressful. That's why working with Joe and Michelle at Bucci's Jewelry and Design has been such a game changer. From the moment you walk in, they treat you like family. No pressure, no pushy sales, just people who actually listen. They help you figure out exactly what your partner will love and design a completely custom piece right there in-house. And right now, gold prices are over $5,000 an ounce. So if you've got old jewelry sitting around, Bucci's can help you sell it for cash, refurbish old pieces, or turn it into something brand new just in time for Valentine's Day. They've got 30 plus years in the game, Philly's #1 jeweler with over 1,000 5-star reviews. So whether you're buying new or turning old gold into something special, visit Bucci's Jewelry and Design at BucciJewelers.com and tell them the PHLY guy sent you.
Back on the PHLY Eagles podcast, Bo and EJ. Dynamic stuff from the Jaw Man. Jaws 2. Jaws 2.0.
Why are you calling him Jaws 2.0? I don't get it.
Well, because we already have Ron Jaworski.
Oh, okay. All right. Yep. I'm with you.
Come on.
I thought you were talking about the movies.
It works both ways.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Let's talk about the offensive line.
Oh, no, you're not going to ask me why I'm wearing something different in the ad read than I am right now? Didn't pique your interest?
I would never put you on blast.
Yeah, okay.
What'd you do? Have a little spilly spill?
I had a ramen for lunch like 25 minutes before the show.
You had a Robin?
No, ramen.
Oh, ramen.
Yeah,
okay.
Homemade ramen. It was very good, but like...
What do you mean homemade ramen?
Well, I mean, the noodles weren't homemade, but the broth, you know.
You made the broth?
I mean, I didn't make it. Shout out to my wife.
Okay.
But I mean, can you eat ramen?
I think for you to say homemade ramen, we know you're lying.
Well, I don't understand it's a packet of ramen, but do people make their own noodles, you think?
Well, no, but I'm saying, I mean, homemade ramen, that's a whole endeavor.
No, when you
that's
say
your
you have
specialty.
ramen, people are going to think that you ordered it, right? Like you got one of those fancy, like pho. You got the whole thing. No?
Yeah, I mean, are you saying like you got like top ramen and Julia just made it up?
Oh, no. This is like, it's like a nice packet of noodles.
Okay.
And then we make the broth with like, some veggies and everything in there.
Oh, you do actually truly make your own broth?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. I mean, Julia has made bone broth. I think I'm not positive if this came out of the carton or not.
Okay. And what, you spilled all over yourself?
I mean, can you eat ramen without making a mess? Like, it's impossible.
It is possible, yes.
I mean, it's not for me. Not for me. So, yeah, had to change between the ad reads and the show.
Good for you. All right, let's get to the offensive line.
Yeah.
This is an interesting one to compare. As we all saw, the Patriots' offensive line get just run through on the biggest stage, even though they used an early pick on Will Campbell. Turns out maybe he's not just a left tackle, although he was obviously injured. And you look at the other players they have there, sort of the pick equity and the free agent signings they've used. Didn't pay a ton for Garrett Bradbury. Used a mid-round pick on Jared Wilson, who I think was also on the Eagles' radar at some point. Spent a little bit of money for Morgan Moses to be the starter at right tackle. And then you go to Seattle, and you're talking about, they had used some early picks. They used a first-round pick on Charles Cross. They used a first-round pick on Gray Zabel. They used, I think, a second or a third on Abe Lucas. And then some other guys in there. We already know that the offensive line is one of the biggest questions of the offseason, EJ, to say nothing of the transition from Jeff Stoutland to Chris Cooper. You've got Lane Johnson. Is he going to play? You've got Landon Dickerson. Is he going to play? You got Cam Jurgens. Is he going to play at the level we saw 2 years ago ever again? You got Jordan Mailata, and you've got Tyler Steen. How do you think Howie feels about this group compared to the rest?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big departure from the way he would have felt 12 months ago. Is it crazy for me to say that it's a small chance, but there is a chance that the Eagles have 4 different starters on the offensive line by the end of next season? Like Landon Dickerson, Lane Johnson.
There is a chance.
Cam Jurgens has a roster. I think it's an option, bonus, an option bonus at some point this offseason that is going to, I mean, I don't think that the Eagles are going to move on from him, but it's at least an interesting discussion that you'll have to have there. Mm-hmm. And then Tyler Steen, like maybe by the end of the season, he's not your starter. Or maybe they sign somebody in free agency to start over Tyler Steen. So it's not a high likelihood, but I mean, it's insane that we found ourselves here, given how good we felt about this group a year ago.
Yeah, I think it's less about that likelihood and more about just the fact that this went from the strength of the team to now a true concern, and it has been a long time since Eagles fans have watched an offensive line that was not on paper one of the best in the league.
Yeah. Now, with that said, I think that they're at least level with the Seahawks offensive line. I think I'd feel pretty good about those two. And I still think relative to what you see across the NFL, you feel okay about where the Eagles will be with presumptively, let's say, Lane Johnson.
They've got work to do.
Yeah, no, they certainly have work to do, but you still feel better about them.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say than the Patriots line. But I think them and the Seahawks are probably closer than the Eagles would like to be with the Seahawks.
As it is too late to do this now, but I imagine that if Howie were actually doing this exercise, I think he'd be more likely to have the Rams as the other team in this exercise than the Patriots.
Interesting. You think because he would say this is a team we're going to have to go through.
And they were the second best team in football, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point.
Okay.
How do you feel about the Rams offensive line then?
I think the way that they use it is probably I would have them a tick better.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I'd say they're on the level.
Given the complete uncertainty about the coaching.
Yeah.
All right, let's flip to the defense. Start at defensive tackle, where I think the Eagles probably feel like they have the best group in football, and rightfully so.
But don't the Seahawks also feel that way?
Yeah, the Seahawks are very, very good.
Yeah.
But with Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and Moro Ojimo, and probably the last year that you're going to have all three of those guys, plus Ty Robinson and Byron Young, Byron Murphy, Leonard Williams, Jaron Reed, also fantastic. Riley Mills got that sack in the Super Bowl, and then the Patriots, Christian Barmore, Milton Williams is fantastic as well. So this is a lot of quality. I think for the Eagles, this is more about how do we maintain that this is going to be a dominant group moving forward beyond just 2026.
Yes, and I think really if you're Howie Roseman looking at those three groups, the thing that you feel strongly about is that this is one of the metas of the current NFL is interior defensive line, pressure, depth, having depth at that position, having guys who can change games, because really I think you could make a compelling argument that I guess you'd have to include the edge rushers for this, this most recent Super Bowl, but defensive lines are really like the great equalizer in those games. So no, I think that's the lesson here. I would take the Eagles, but I do think that, if we had Mina Kimes here, she might be making the argument that the Seahawks should get their respect in this conversation as well.
Yeah, that is a lot of quality there across the board. The edge group, very interesting, because the top of the list for the Eagles is Jalen Phillips, and we don't know if he's going to be back. I think probably more likely than not that he won't be back. You've also got Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt. Jalix Hunt coming off an awesome season. Brandon Graham is the fourth there. He is also up in the air, although he would like to come back. We'll see if Howie Roseman wants him back. Seattle, DeMarcus Lawrence. Good job by them to add him in the offseason. Derek Hall, Boye Mafe, Uchenna Nwosu. That's a nice group of depth for quality guys. And then the Patriots, Harold Landry, Calebon Chason, who I think the Eagles could have signed in the past, Anthony Jennings, and Elijah Ponder. How do you analyze that?
I'm going to lean Eagles with an asterisk with the uncertainty around Jalen Phillips, but I don't know. I still think you talked me into Jalix Hunt next year. I mean, is he going to be a breakout player next year?
Yeah.
Where maybe not tier one like best pass rushers in the league, but maybe in the conversation around those guys. I think he could be someone we're talking about taking a real leap next year. So I'm going to take the Eagles group.
You're going to take them as the best of those four, even without Jalen Phillips.
I know that's tough because of what we just saw from DeMarcus Lawrence, but if we're talking going into next year, yeah, I feel okay about taking the Eagles here.
I would take the Seahawks for sure.
Okay, all right. I mean, we can't agree on all of them.
Yeah, they've got four real guys right now. The Eagles only have two.
Yeah, but I think I said that the asterisk is Jalen Phillips. If Jalen Phillips is gone, you take the Seahawks, but with the uncertainty, I'm gonna just lean Eagles here.
Well, I think we also agree that even if the Eagles let Jalen Phillips go, they're not going to enter the season with just Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt.
Yeah, but I think that building it with Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt, and really Jalix Hunt as somebody that you feel good about progressing further, yeah, I feel good about that group. I feel a lot better than I did, at the start of the season. It's crazy how much Jalen Phillips really changed that group. But yeah, I think that the young core they have there, I'm talking myself into it.
All right. Let's head to our last break. On the other side, we'll talk linebackers, corners, and safety. Stay with us. Friction Vapes, I love you too. It is time to make your home work smarter, not harder. With the TrueMark Financial Home Equity Line of Credit, you can tap into your home's equity to handle renovations, upgrades, or whatever's next on your list. A TrueMark Financial HELOC Select gives you the flexibility to borrow when you need it on your timeline. You start with a revolving line of credit, use only what you need, and when you're ready, you can lock in all or part of your balance at a fixed rate for predictable payments. You only pay interest on what you use, and as you pay it back, the credit becomes available again. No reapplying, no extra steps. With competitive rates compared to most unsecured loans and flexible repayment options, this is a smart move for you, your home, and your wallet. So learn more about TrueMark Financial's home equity line of credit at TrueMark.com or stop by one of their 24 branches today to get started. TrueMark Financial is federally insured by the NCUA and is an equal opportunity lender, NMLS 404938.
What if you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi? And what if you could keep it the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. It's Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home work together seamlessly. It finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like the super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense. And that lets you stream the game even when your whole family is online. Just picture it, all of your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And here's the best part. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and Xfinity's best equipment already included. Take it from me. A lot can change in 5 years. Championships are won, records are broken, dreams grow bigger, but your Wi-Fi, it should stay reliable and the price should stay put. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only. Restrictions apply.
We're back on the PHLY Eagles podcast. Bo Wulf, EJ Smith. We move to linebacker now, EJ, where the Eagles have a good, but for how long? Zach Bond, Jahad Campbell, Nakobe Dean, entering free agency, not so much, but I think you would feel like between Jeremiah Trotter Jr. and Smile Mondin, you might have enough depth there to feel pretty good entering next season. How does that group compare to Seattle with Ernest Jones, ya boy,
my boy,
Drake Thomas with Chaz Surratt and Tyrese Nice behind him, and in New England, my boy Christian Ellis, Bobby Spills, Robert Spillane, plus Jelani Tavai, Chad Muma, and Marte Mapu. How does Howie feel? I think Howie feels just fine here.
Howie feels fine, but
Howie may never put another resource into the linebacker position.
For the sake of content, I'm taking the Seahawks, my boy Ernest, and you're going to take the Patriots for Christian Ellis. But yeah, Howie feels. I mean, the Eagles have arguably the best linebacking core in the NFL. It's a weird thing to say, but I think it is the case. But yeah, I'm team content here. You got to go with solidarity in the Ernests.
I'm team honest, and I would never not lie, never lie, and not tell the truth.
You have said some whoppers even on this show. You said I wouldn't put your business out there, and now you're saying I would never not lie. I'd never lie.
Yeah, I'm telling the truth.
I don't believe you.
Telling my truth.
Yeah, that is your truth. That you never put. Have you ever put my business out there?
No. Not without your implicit say so.
You know, now that we're on this, I felt really bad about the slight at my sister yesterday, the sour cream thing.
You should have felt bad. Don't blame that on me.
No, I didn't blame you at all. So I called her and I explained it to her, and she's laughing the whole time, like she doesn't care. And she's like, no, like I think it was actually like nice that you mentioned it, and I did. Like even I talked to Julia about it because I was all like, was that wrong? Like, am I? You know, was I being like a bad sibling there? So I just want to make sure I reiterate. I really appreciate my sister. She's amazing. She has done such a good job filling that space in our family. So yeah, shout out to my sister.
No, but it is also a part of honoring your mom, right? That you're remembering the things about her. That's for you. You're keeping her alive.
Exactly. So, and again, I saw someone say this in the chat, and I was like, dang, that's a good point. I was at the grocery store before I went over, so I could have called and said, "Hey, you need anything?" So that was on me.
It's good. Hand up. That's good.
Yep.
All right. Let's talk corner. Another very interesting one as we compare these rosters, because these also are very good secondaries. But the Eagles got to feel pretty good with Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. Who's going to be the other starter? We don't know. Jacorian Bennett is here. Keely Ringo is here. I think more likely they'll maybe play the veteran scrap heap type deal to find this year's version of Adoree Jackson.
Yeah.
You compare that to Christian Gonzalez, who was awesome for the Patriots in the Super Bowl and in the playoffs. Carlton Davis Jr. also very cromulent, and Marcus Jones, a good nickel. And then Seattle, Devin Witherspoon, Reek Woolen, Nehemiah Pritchett, and ya boy, Josh Jobe.
Hi, boy.
Who is throwing punches in the Super Bowl, not getting tossed. You want to talk about living life the right way. Fantastic work by him.
I didn't know Josh Jobe was my boy. Where did that come from?
It's just...
I covered him.
Yeah.
I don't know who I'm taking here, actually. This is tough. Like,
how badly do you think the Eagles wish they had Josh Jobe still?
Yeah, it's funny because they had that collection of corners like that were basically dart throws, and you just figured that they would figure out who was the one to keep, and then they lost Josh Jobe. I mean, could you argue that he's not like stylist? No, I feel like the Seahawks stylistically are pretty similar.
You'd be fine.
Yeah. Yes, the answer is they are probably disappointed that they lost out. Like, he's going to be one of those, make Howie Roseman always says, like, you have to make sure you have the best evaluation of your own players. I think Josh Jobe will be on that list of, players that they let leave the building before they really hit their stride. I'm probably, can I call it a wash? I think I'm calling it a wash here. I don't know if I'm taking a group here. I feel, especially, I wanted to have a conversation about one player in this group against another player from a different position group. So I'm gonna call it too close to call.
Just to because I'm looking it up. I'm sorry to cut you off.
That's okay.
When the Eagles waived Josh Jobe at the end of roster cutdowns in 2024, they kept Eli Ricks, so that was their evaluation.
That was their choice.
Yeah,
the wrong choice.
Okay,
I liked the Josh Jobe. He like
and. Oh no, never mind.
Oh,
not Mario Goodrich. That was the year before.
I liked Mario Goodrich too, like as a person. But no, I think that is well put. Well, that's good context by you that they made their choice. It was Eli Ricks over Josh Jobe, which is tough because like Josh Jobe also really profiled as a better special teams contributor. If that was all you were going to get, so yeah, no, it's a missed opportunity. I'm calling it a 3-way tie here. Too close to call.
Okay.
Can I present you one now before we go to safeties?
Please.
Shout out to our boy Nate Tice. I've been texting Nate about a range of topics.
Wow. How about you?
And I'm putting him, I mean, this maybe wasn't an on the record conversation, but I'm putting it on the record here.
Okay.
I asked him if he thought Dune was sci-fi or fantasy.
You were really kicking yourself for not answering.
I know, I was really disappointed. I didn't bring this up on the show. And his initial answer was fantasy, but then we got to talking about it, and he changed his mind. He came around on the sci-fi argument because it's rooted in the real world. There's an explanation for all of the things that you would say make it fantasy: the worms, the spice, like everything about Dune that seems like fantasy is tied into the real world. There are explanations for how they got there. Sci-fi.
James Bradbury also made that initial roster when they waived Josh Jobe.
Okay. I mean, but that was more of a financial thing than a...
Didn't have to be.
Yeah, that's true. No, it's fair. It's true.
Okay. I don't have a strong opinion on the Dune thing. I'm sorry.
I think it's sci-fi. I think we can put it to bed.
Okay.
Speaking of fantasy, before we get to the conversation I wanted to have about this exercise, are you watching A Night of the Seven Kingdoms?
No.
Are you not a Game of Thrones guy?
I am I enjoyed Game of Thrones. I didn't watch a second of the Dragon prequel.
I enjoy it, but it's not the same level.
I've heard good things about this. I will probably get to it, but I am in full on strict movie mode right now.
Okay,
All my watching time is movies.
A Night of the Seven Kingdoms put me just all the way back into my Game of Thrones feels with this most recent episode. Like, oh man. And like, it's funny because like when I was younger, like the Star Wars fanatics, like the people who knew everything about Star Wars, I didn't really understand it. And now that I've like been in the Game of Thrones universe for like half my life, like I finally can wrap my head around like what that means, like the significance. It takes you back to different periods in your life. It just becomes like more special than really even it should probably. So yeah, no, I think you'll like A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. It's a little bit, the pace is a little bit different. It's a little more whimsical, but there's still like the stakes of like a good Game of Thrones story. So yeah, I think you'll like it.
I'm interested.
Yeah. I think waiting until you can watch a bunch of the episodes is probably a good call too, because they're short episodes, so you can breeze right through them.
Short episodes.
Yeah, they're shorter. It's like I think it's a little bit more than a half hour, but it's not anywhere close to an hour. So
interesting. Okay. All right, let's close this out with safeties, EJ.
Yeah, but I have an exercise for you here.
Oh, okay.
Or just at least a question, a proposition. When I brought up Nate Tice, he had a poll on social media where it was Cooper DeJean versus Nick Emanwari.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It is fun. I think recency bias was really clouding people's judgment on this one. It's like they just watched Nick Emanwari have an awesome, Super Bowl, and it's like, well, Cooper DeJean did as well. So yeah. I would take Cooper DeJean in that, but I'm curious where you would go.
I would be lying if I haven't watched Nick Emanwari enough. I watch Cooper DeJean every week. I would probably still take Cooper DeJean.
Yeah.
But I think Nick Emanwari is awesome, and I think he's good enough to make you think about it.
We should ask Fran tomorrow.
Yeah.
If you're building a defense, who are you starting with, Cooper DeJean or Nick Emanwari? I think I'm going Cooper DeJean because of the versatility, but I mean, Nick Emanwari is very versatile too. I might be biased because I watch Cooper week in and week out, but I'm taking Cooper DeJean.
Yeah.
It's a good one though, right?
It's a good one. It's a good one. Where did he fall?
I think, well, based off of his replies, I think Nate is a Cooper DeJean. I think he's on our side with Cooper DeJean here. But the poll was mostly Nick Emanwari.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that brings us to, you've got Nick Emanwari. You've also got Julian Love and Kobe Bryant for the Seahawks. The Patriots, I think, a good lesson in, if the Eagles lose Reed Blankenship, you can paper over that position if you find the right guys. Craig Woodson and Jalen Hawkins, not exactly the world's biggest names. They were both on the scrap heap. I think we had talked about Jalen Hawkins as a potential Eagles signing last offseason. And then one of my favorite names in the NFL, I believe the description from the name guide a couple years ago was what dogs tell other dogs about humans. Del Pettis.
Is that actually what was in there?
Yeah. I mean, I wrote it. Yeah.
Oh, you wrote it. Okay.
Yeah. I love that name. That's a great one. Like, you're on the fence about these humans. Like, should I trust him? Don't pet us.
Okay. I like that.
You got Drew Makuba, Sidney Brown, and Reed Blankenship and Marcus Epps, both free agents to be.
Yeah, I think the Eagles are behind on this one. I think I probably am. I'm going to take the Seahawks here. I don't know if that matters as much. Like, I mean, really, what were the positions that we feel like the Eagles are really like behind these other teams? Safety and tight end.
I'm worried about the offensive line.
Yeah, but not.
I think if you go through the exercise, the roster on balance is healthy.
Yep, it's a Super Bowl caliber roster still.
Well, it is at the moment. We'll see what they put together.
Yeah, but even I think we baked in like the future prospects on some of these. If you told me Reed Blankenship was coming back, there's an upside for them to be as good or better than these groups. Probably not better, but as good. So
yeah, I think Seattle would still be a cut above. And
difference making ability.
Truthfully, the bigger difference is not really whether they sign Reed Blankenship; it's whether or not Drew Makuba takes a leap.
Yeah, Reed raises the floor, but Makuba is the one that makes me think the ceiling could be a lot higher. So yeah, I agree.
That makes sense. And now, EJ, we go to Lindsay time. And we're back.
Did you see Machiavel's chat? I miss Fran doing guys on my screen.
We can make that happen as part of the pre-draft process.
Is that a supporters club video?
Yeah, why not? How about special teams? Ha 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 ha.
Oh, I thought you were being serious.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think they're going to do? You think they're going to do a Jake Elliott thing and they're going to bring in a kicker?
They probably should. They should. They absolutely should. I feel like, just rattling it off my brain, I feel like the Eagles actually are behind in special teams. I mean, the Seahawks have very good special teams. And isn't that like the Patriots thing? Is that like they're conservative because they play field position with their good special teams?
I mean, it's an embarrassing thing to be your thing if that's the case.
I mean, that Super Bowl, the way it was called, like Nick Sirianni must have felt like very validated.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
like,
ugly.
There were a lot of 4th and 1 from midfield punts. There were a lot of 3 and outs, and there was a lot of like, oh, in this type of game, it's about the field position. It was, I don't know. Yeah, it was like I said, I feel like Nick would have been feeling better about where he falls on that in that range based off of the way that game went.
A good point from Provolone John in the comments, who says, if you do miss Fran doing guys, he does have his own pre-draft podcast on ALLCITY. So Google that.
But he's not talking about doing guys on that podcast.
Well, he's talking about the guys he has done.
He's talking about it in a more literal sense. Yeah, he's not.
I understand.
He's not leaning into the silliness.
This is a way to get your fix.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff today, EJ.
Yeah, this was fun. I think it was. I hope that it was a telling exercise. It felt like I feel better about the Eagles roster than I did probably when we started it. But yeah, big question marks at some key spots for sure.
Sounds good. Tomorrow, no bad ideas. Throwing it all out there. Nothing to be held to, but let's get crazy. And then on Thursday, Flu World Order, fun stuff. Looking forward to it. So join us tomorrow at 2:00 for EJ and Lindsay. I'm Bo. We thank you for watching. We will talk to you tomorrow. And as always, we love you.
We all silly like the mayor.